The great space station floated above a dying star, its golden light weak and tired. Inside the main hall, the leaders of the galaxy had gathered. The hall was massive, with walls made of black metal and shining crystal, the air heavy with the hum of alien machines. There were tall insect people with bright green eyes, crystal beings that glowed softly from within, shadowy shapes that floated without legs, and dozens of other strange life forms. They spoke in deep voices, high clicks, and musical tones, all blending into a confusing storm of sound. In the far corner, one figure stood out, not because he was important, but because he was different. He was the only human there. Captain Elias Vos stood straight, his black uniform clean but worn from travel. His eyes calm. Humans were rare now, their homeworld destroyed in the last great war, and the galaxy saw them as survivors, but also as troublemakers. Still, Elias had been sent as the last representative of Earth, a duty he carried with quiet pride. At the front of the hall, on a raised platform, sat a throne unlike any other. It was made of silver and wrapped in a glowing veil of shifting light. Behind that veil was someone, or something, known only as the Veiled Princess. Her name was Serenia, and her face had never been seen by outsiders. Stories said anyone who looked at her real form would lose their mind. Others claimed she was cursed, carrying something ancient and dangerous inside her. Whatever the truth was, no alien leader dared to come near her throne. The meeting began with the booming voice of the council's high speaker. He spoke of danger, of growing unrest in the galaxy, and of an old enemy returning. The only way to unite the alien factions was through a sacred bond, a mental and emotional link with the Veiled Princess. This bond, once formed, would connect two beings forever, allowing them to share thoughts and power. But there was a problem. The princess's own people had tried, and all had failed. Some went mad, others vanished, and many simply stopped living. Silence filled the hall. The high speaker's words echoed. Someone must bond with the princess, or war will come to us all. The leaders shifted nervously, eyes avoiding the throne. Even the bravest among them did not step forward. Then a voice broke the silence. "I will do it," Elias said. His tone was steady, but his heart pounded in his chest. The room erupted in gasps and alien murmurs. A human? They whispered in disbelief. Bonding with her could mean death, madness, or worse. But Elias did not step back. The princess spoke for the first time, her voice soft yet carrying across the hall like music mixed with thunder. "You are human," she said, her words slow, testing the shape of them. "Yes," Elias replied, "and I will bond with you." The veil shimmered faintly, like a wave passing through water. "Do you know the risk?" she asked. "I do," he said without hesitation. For a moment, there was no sound except the deep hum of the space station. Then the high speaker nodded gravely. "So be it," he said. "The bond will begin at once." Elias was led forward, past lines of alien guards in heavy armor. He could feel the eyes of every leader watching him, some curious, some angry, some afraid. As he reached the steps of the throne, he felt a strange vibration in the air. The veil seemed alive, shifting like mist in a storm. He could not see her face, only the outline of a figure sitting tall and still. "You may still walk away," Serenia said quietly. Elias shook his head. "I've walked away from too much already." Her voice carried something deeper this time, a flicker of surprise, maybe even respect. "Then step closer," she said. He climbed the last step and stood before her. The air around the veil was warm, like standing near the sun. He felt his heartbeat slow, then speed up again in strange rhythm. For a moment, the rest of the hall faded, the voices and movement becoming distant. It was just him and the Veiled Princess. The high speaker raised his staff, its crystal tip glowing. "Let the bonding begin," he declared. The veil brightened, silver light spilling into the hall. Elias took a slow breath as the first threads of connection reached out toward his mind. He had no idea what waited for him on the other side of that veil, but there was no turning back now. Somewhere deep in the shifting light, Serenia whispered, "This will change you, human. Forever." The chamber beyond the throne was nothing like the grand hall. It was smaller, darker, and the air felt thick, as if it carried the weight of years. Elias followed two silent alien guards down a narrow path lit only by faint blue. Lines in the floor, the sound of his own boots echoed strangely, as if the walls were listening. At the end of the path stood a single silver door. It opened without a sound, revealing a round room with walls covered in slow-moving runes. They shifted like living handwriting, glowing with pale light. In the center was the veiled princess Serenia. Her throne was gone. Here, she sat on nothing, floating slightly above the floor. The veil around her was tighter now, wrapping her like a living cocoon of light. Elias stepped inside, and the door closed behind him without a click. The silence was so complete he could hear his own breath. Her voice broke it, low, soft, and filled with something ancient. "You should not be here, human," she said. "You asked for me," Elias replied. Her head tilted slightly. "I warned them. No one survives." Elias tried to study her shape through the shifting light. Her outline seemed to change, sometimes tall, sometimes small, sometimes nothing at all. The movement made his eyes ache, but he kept looking. "You believe I can't survive?" Elias asked. "I know you can't," she said. "Not as you are now." She rose slowly, the veil moving with her like deep water around a hidden creature. Her presence filled the room in a way that felt larger than her body. "There is reason they call me cursed," she continued. "My blood carries the memory of an old war, a war older than your species." She lifted her hand, and the runes on the walls brightened, showing brief flashes of scenes, massive starships burning in a dark sky, entire planets crumbling to dust, creatures of shadow devouring cities. "This is what I carry inside me," she said. "Every thought, every dream, every touch. The darkness finds it and destroys it." Elias felt a sharp pressure in his head, as if something unseen had just brushed against his thoughts. It wasn't her. It was something colder, hungrier. "You feel it, don't you?" Serenia asked. Elias nodded slowly. "That is the first taste of the bond," she said. "If we continue, it will see all of you, your fears, your memories, your weaknesses, and it will try to break you." He took a step closer, his boots silent against the strange floor. "Then tell me why I should still try," Elias said. For a moment, the veil's movement slowed. "Because," she said quietly, "if no one bonds with me, that thing will escape me, and it will not stop with this station." Elias thought about the galaxy beyond, the crowded spaceports, the fragile peace between worlds. He thought about the war that had ended Earth, and the silence that followed. "Then we have no choice," he said. "You always have a choice," she whispered, almost sadly. The veil tightened around her again, the light dimming until only her voice remained. "If you go forward, human, you will never be only human again." The runes on the wall flared once more, then began to move faster. The light in the room turned a deep red, and Elias felt something cold slide deeper into his mind. The bond had begun, and the first whispers were already there. They were not Serenia's. They belonged to something else, and it was laughing. The world around Elias vanished like it had been pulled away by invisible hands. The red light of the chamber faded, replaced by a sky that wasn't a sky at all. It was an endless ocean of black glass, stretching in every direction, reflecting nothing. Above him floated two suns, one gold, one silver, but they were too close, hanging in the air like watching eyes. He realized he wasn't standing anymore. His feet sank into the glass like it was soft, yet it held him. The air tasted sweet but cold. A sound reached him, not a voice, not music, but something between the two. It came from behind, and when he turned, Serenia was there, only she was no longer hidden by the veil. Her form shifted with every heartbeat. Sometimes she was made of flowing silver, sometimes of starlight, sometimes 1,000 tiny wings beating in unison. Her face was never still. Each blink showed a different being, a different life, but her eyes, no matter the form, were the same, deep, endless, and filled with loneliness. "This is my mind," she said. Though her lips didn't move, her voice was inside him now. Echoing through his bones, he felt her emotions as if they were his own, the weight of centuries. The cold ache of being feared, the small flicker of hope that someone might understand. The bond was growing, golden threads weaving between them, warm and alive. But there was something else. Something crawling along those threads, Elias felt. It before he saw it, a chill that gripped the back of his thoughts, like icy fingers sliding deeper. Then he heard it, a whisper, far away but getting closer. Not words at first, just a scraping sound. Then laughter. Serena's expression changed, her starlight form flickering violently. "It is here," she said, her voice sharper now. The black glass beneath them began to crack, thin white lines racing outward like lightning from the cracks. A thick shadow began to rise, not smoke, not liquid, but something in between. It had no eyes, no face, but Elias could feel it looking at him, looking into him. It spoke in a language he didn't know, yet somehow understood. Another one. How delicious! The golden threads between Elias and Serena trembled as the shadow touched them. He felt his own memories flash without control, the ruins of Earth, the screens of falling cities, the last time he saw his crew alive. The shadow laughed again, feeding on the pain. Serena stepped forward, placing herself between Elias and the creature. Her starlight flared, burning bright enough to push the shadow back a few steps. But even as it retreated, Elias could feel its hunger. "It will not stop," she told him. "It wants you now." The cracks in the black glass widened, whole sections breaking away. Into nothingness, the golden and silver suns above dimmed, their lights smothered by the growing dark. Elias knew instinctively that if this place collapsed, their minds, and maybe their lives, would be lost forever. "How do we fight it?" Elias asked. Serena's answer came without hesitation. "You don't," she said. "You endure. Until you can do the one thing I told you never to do." Elias knew what she meant. See her true form. The shadow hissed in pleasure at the thought. It wanted him to break. And in that moment, Elias realized the bond wasn't just about trust. It was about survival. One wrong move, one moment of weakness, and the thing inside her mind would wear his face forever. Asterisk. The black glass world was gone. Elias stood in a place that looked like an endless hallway, stretching into forever. The walls were made of his own memories, flickering images of his childhood, his training, the war, Earth's burning skies. The floor was water, but his boots made no splash. It was silent here, too silent, until the voice came. "You walk inside yourself now," it whispered. It wasn't Serena. It was the shadow. The sound moved from one ear to the other, too fast to follow. Every word felt like it brushed the back of his brain. Shapes began to form in the water. At first they were harmless. His parents, his crew, people he had loved. But their eyes were wrong, black and empty. When they spoke, it was in the shadow's voice. "We can make you strong, human," it said. Stronger than her. Stronger than anyone. Elias didn't answer. He knew enough from war to recognize the trap. Talk to the enemy, and you give it pieces of yourself. But the shadow didn't need his words. It began pulling more memories from the walls. The day he lost his ship, the moment he was the last man alive, the faces of those he failed. The water on the floor rippled, and the shadow began to rise from it. It wasn't just smoke now. It had a shape. Long arms, too many fingers, a mouth that was a wound instead of lips. It moved like it was underwater, slow but unstoppable. "She hides behind her light," it said. "She fears what you would see." Elias felt the bond threads tremble again. Serena's voice came faintly, far away. "Don't listen," she urged. "It lies." The shadow laughed at that. "She told you I am a parasite," it hissed. "But I was the first. The first to survive her bond." The hallway shifted suddenly. The walls bent inward. The water rose around Elias's boots. Now the images on the walls weren't his memories. They were hers. He saw Serenia as a child, running through forests of crystal. He saw her people, tall, bright beings, standing in awe before something falling from the sky. A black sphere, pulsing like a heartbeat, when it opened. The shadow stepped out. Elias gasped. "You were there," he said. "I was inside her before she had a name," the shadow whispered. "And I will be inside you." The water reached his knees, cold enough to numb him. The shadow moved closer. Its fingers reached for his face. In its touch he saw visions, himself standing in the council hall. Eyes black, voice no longer his. The galaxy bowing to him, not out of respect, but out of fear, then. Sharp as a blade, Serenia's voice cut through the vision. "Elias, look at me." He turned, and there she was, standing at the end of the hallway, her starlight form blazing like a shield. The shadow hissed and pulled back, but Elias knew it wasn't retreating. It was waiting for him to break. Elias's eyes snapped open. The black hallway and shadow were gone, replaced by the dim glow of the bonding chamber. His heart was pounding, his skin cold, but the threads of light between him and Serenia still pulsed. She stood before him, veil trembling like it had been struck by a storm. Something was wrong. The air carried a strange vibration, sharp, urgent, like a warning, then without sound. The chamber's far wall exploded inward. Shards of alien metal spun through the air like knives. Figures poured through the smoke, tall, armored assassins with masks that hid their faces there. Weapons glowed red, their movements fast and practiced. They had come for one reason, and Elias knew it wasn't him. Serenia stepped back, the veil thickening around her like a shield. But the assassins fired strange energy bolts that tore holes in the light. One shot came close enough to burn Elias's cheek. Instinct took over. He pulled his plasma pistol from his belt and returned fire, the chamber filling with the snap of energy blasts. The bond flared without warning. Elias felt Serenia's fear. Sharp and raw, he also felt something else, her power reaching for him. When the next assassin leaped forward, Elias didn't just dodge. A wave of invisible force burst from his body, hurling the attacker into the wall so hard the metal bent. Serenia's voice was in his head now, not just speaking but pulling. "Stay with me," she said. "Do not let them take me." Two assassins closed in from either side. Elias ducked, spun, and fired, the heat of the pistol burning through his gloves. The air smelled of scorched metal and something like burned spice. One assassin managed to slip past him, charging at Serenia. Elias didn't think. The golden bond threads between them tightened, and a burst of psychic energy shot out. The assassin froze mid-step, clutching his head, and collapsed without a sound. The rest hesitated, clearly realizing the human wasn't as unarmed as they thought. "Why are they here?" Elias demanded, his voice rough. Serenia's reply was soft but heavy. "They believe the bond will destroy me, and they would rather kill me than risk it." Another blast rocked the chamber. Elias turned toward the smoke-filled breach, but through it he saw something else. A shadow moving, but not the assassins, something taller, slower, watching. His blood ran cold. He knew that presence, the shadow from her mind. It had followed them here. The assassins didn't notice it. But Elias saw the way the veil rippled when the dark shape drew closer. The bond threads trembled violently. Serenia's voice sharpened in his skull. "Elias, if it touches me out here, there will be no veil left." The assassins regrouped for another charge. The shadow crept closer, and Elias realized he had seconds to decide. Fight the killers in front of him, or face the thing that wanted his mind. The chamber became two worlds at once. In one, Elias stood on the cracked floor, plasma pistol hot in his grip, assassins closing in from all sides. In the other, inside the bond, he floated in a vast black ocean under a storm of light and shadow. The two realities overlapped. Each move he made in one rippled into the other. The assassins attacked in perfect formation. 2 came high blades. Flashing, while a third slid low toward his legs, Elias blocked one strike, twisted from another, and fired point-blank at the third. In the same instant, in the mind ocean, a massive wave of shadow crashed toward him, cold enough to bite into. His bones, Serenia stood in that ocean too. Her starlight burning bright, but flickering at the edges. "It's stronger here," she said. Her voice both near and far. The shadow rose from the water, taller than towers, its shape shifting like smoke in a storm. "Your bond weakens her. It hissed, 'When she falls, you will be mine.'" Back in the chamber, Elias ducked under a blade and slammed an assassin into the wall. The impact echoed inside the bond. The shadow reeled back slightly. He realized the truth. "Every hit here hurts it there," he said aloud. Serenia's eyes blazed. "Then strike without fear." The fight became a blur in the chamber. Elias moved like a soldier who had fought too many wars. In the bond, he stood against a storm of black tendrils reaching for his mind, cutting through them with bursts of gold light. The more he fought, the more the shadow twisted. Its voice turned desperate. "You don't know what she is," it spat. "She is not your ally, she is your cage." Elias ignored it, but its words tried to stick. The shadow began pulling images from Serenia's own mind, her standing over bodies, her hands glowing with deadly light. Entire cities silent after she passed. The assassin saw his hesitation and struck harder. One blade grazed his arm, heat and pain shooting through him. In the ocean, the shadow wrapped around his chest like iron chains. Serenia's voice cracked through the darkness. "Do not let it choose your truth. Choose your own." Her starlight surged, driving a spear of pure light into the shadow's chest. It screamed, not just in the bond, but in the chamber too. The assassins froze as if they had heard it. Though they didn't understand, the veil around Serenia flared, brighter than before. In that light, Elias saw something, a glimpse of her true form. Not fully, but enough to make his pulse race. The shadow recoiled violently, its edges fraying. "If you see her completely," it hissed, "I will burn, and you will never be human again." Elias didn't answer. His grip on the pistol tightened. One way or another, this fight was ending. The chamber shook as if the space station itself was afraid. Light and shadow clashed in the air, twisting into spirals that ripped cracks into the floor. The assassins had stopped fighting, frozen between fear of the human and terror of the thing they could not see. Only Elias and Serenia moved now, 2 points of light against the darkness. The shadow towered above them in the bond ocean. Its voice was 100 voices speaking at once. "You will break, human," it said. "You are too small." Elias's breath was ragged, every step heavier. He could feel his body weakening. In the real chamber, the bond pulling more of him away, Serenia was fading too, her starlight flickering like a dying star. Her voice reached him, quieter than before. "If you see me fully, we can burn it out. But you will never return to who you are." He thought of Earth, gone, but still alive in his memory. He thought of the crew he had lost. He thought of the look in Serenia's eyes when she spoke of being alone. He took a step toward her. The shadow roared, waves of darkness smashing into him. Every hit showed him visions, himself ruling the galaxy, himself drowning in an alien void, himself forgotten by history. But under all of it, the bond threads between him and Serenia. Burned gold, he followed them. "I want to see," Elias said. The veil around her shattered like glass in the wind. For the first time, he saw her true form. She was not one being, she was many. Her body made of flowing constellations, her skin like liquid light, her eyes 2 galaxies in motion. She was terrible and beautiful all at once. And for a heartbeat, he understood why others had gone mad. The truth of her was too big for the mind to hold. But Elias didn't break. He stepped into her light. The gold threads exploded outward, wrapping the shadow in a cage of burning starlight. The creature screamed, its form unraveling into dust that sank into the ocean and was gone. In the chamber, The light from Serenia's veil burst through the walls, blinding everyone. When it faded, the assassins were gone. Or maybe they had never been there. Elias stood taller now, his eyes faintly glowing with the same galaxies he had seen in hers. The air between them was silent, but the bond still hummed in his mind. She looked at him without the veil, her voice soft. Now you are part of me, and I am part of you. Outside the chamber, the station alarms began to wail. Through the viewport, Elias saw shapes moving in the dark between stars. Huge, slow, and many. The shadow's kin had heard its death cry. The real war was coming.